Welcome to Newtown's World. I'm your host, Gary Davis. The Newtown Action Alliance is a grassroots action-based organization that is working tirelessly to ensure that whatever happened in Newtown never happens again, and are coordinating actions that can be taken to make a difference, and so that Newtown can lead and affect meaningful legislative change to reduce gun violence. We have 4 guests today from Newtown Action Alliance: David Stowe, co-chairman; Jen Killin, who's in charge of fundraising; Dan O'Donnell, who's in charge of communications; and David Freedman, who's the treasurer of the organization. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
So I think the one thing people want to know is what inspired you to take action by creating the Newtown Action Alliance? Dan, why don't we start with you?
Well, Gary, this incident has affected all of us, and we all have our own stories. Everybody in this town has their own story, and that's what inspired us, is to say we lost something that day. We lost 26 key members of our community. That's a terrible thing, and we can't bring those people back. So what Newtown Action basically is all of us coming together as a town, sitting down to say, and having a dialogue to say, what can we do to find the positive outcomes outcomes that we can create from this event. So that's really what inspired us and inspired everybody. I think that's part of this organization, is let's figure out the positive outcomes. We don't know what they are right now, but we know we want to bring together people to have a conversation, get in a good dialogue, figure out what they are, and then work to achieve them.
So what kind of reception has the Newtown Action Alliance received?
Oh, we've received an incredible one. It's people really have embraced the effort because their passion, because their opportunity to take action. And we've had a couple of town hall meetings, type meetings, and at both of those, gun owners have come together, non-gun owners, people who are really embracing in our mission and what we want to do. So I think it's been great, and we are here to have a conversation with everybody. We're now creating committees within our organization, which brings the gun owners and non-gun owners together to hopefully come to some common sense solutions.
Well, what's really struck me, though, is following what you're doing, and is the reception you're getting and the turnout you're getting into some of your meetings. I mean, it's quite amazing how people are turning out to your events. And so I take it you're getting a lot of participation from local residents.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. We have about 700 people who have embraced in our action, and we have quite a bit from our community and surrounding community. So this is really, it's growing day by day and literally second by second, and that's and we love that, because we need the people to help us take action to move these things forward.
Well, what's interesting too is you've been very active in attending marches and other things, and the logistics of moving large groups of people, are formidable and also cost money. And I take it from a fundraising standpoint, you are getting some good initial support.
Sure.
We have people that have donated completely unsolicited, that have enabled us to send a group of residents down to Washington for the March on Washington. We sent 7 buses of Newtown residents up to Hartford for March for Change. So even though we haven't focused on fundraising quite yet, we're so focused on action, there's so much to do, we are getting a lot of support that way already.
So David, are you coordinating with other gun control groups? That seems to be the focus of a lot of people these days. And how are you working within that community? Who's coming to partner with you?
Well, actually, one of our main visions when we started this and in our initial discussions was to facilitate. There are so many desperate groups throughout the country and in the state, and on the side of gun advocates, there seems to be the NRA and the NSSF, and they coalesce, everything together. So we envisioned trying to bring together all these groups. So right now, locally, we've actually partnered with Connecticut Against Gun Violence, as well as the March for Change. They're coalition partners with us. Also in town, we've worked with the Sandy Hook Ride on Washington, where actually Monty Frank, who's one of our advisory board members, he's organized that, where there are 26 riders leaving from the municipal center. Senator Blumenthal will be sending them off, and actually Congressman Himes will be riding with them from Newtown to Ridgefield. And then Senator Blumenthal will meet them when they arrive in Washington. We've also, We Are Newtown has helped us with a few projects. On the national level, we're working with Coalition to Stop Gun Violence, as well as Brady Campaign, the Mayors Against Illegal Guns, as well as Million Moms March. And it was actually on a conference call last night with the Brady Campaign mayors and as well as Coalition to Stop Gun Violence, and it was a great collaboration. It was great to see everyone working together.
And are you somewhat surprised that all these national and regional organizations have embraced your alliance so quickly? Because you've only really been around for a few weeks.
Well, I don't think it's surprising, because I think they are looking for a voice to come out of Newtown. We don't profess to speak for everyone in Newtown, but we are from Newtown, so people right now want to hear what Newtown has to say, and we hope to help facilitate people in our community to have their voices heard.
And while the debate right now is on gun control, really the Newtown Action Alliance is not focused on that as your sole issue. There are other things that you want to make a difference in terms of issues.
Well, I'd say that the reason that gun control itself is being focused on right now is because there are legislative initiatives being proposed both on the state level and the federal level. So if we don't focus on that right now, then Newtown's not going to have a voice that's being heard. But we feel very strongly that we need also to address both the culture of violence in our country as well as mental health. There's also, it seems that there's a culture of fear in our country where everyone feels that they need to have a gun. Why is it that everyone is so afraid of someone that looks different from them or someone that might be a little different? That's something on a cultural level that we really hope to address as well.
Yeah, there's no lack of issues to address. But gun control is on everybody's minds right now. It is a big topic of discussion. And what are you seeing as the greatest challenges to make changes, meaningful changes in gun legislation in our country and in our state?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is when we get into these conversations, I'm sure this is true for any kind of legislation, is how do we affect positive change? How do we find the right outcomes, the right regulation or the right lack of regulation, whatever it is, that makes our children safer, but how do we do that in a way that has a reasonable, or either doesn't restrict or has a reasonable restriction for good law-abiding citizens and the thing. So that's our biggest challenge, and that's been, so far it's been really, really incredible. At our last town meeting, I can't imagine that there's any meeting, at least no meeting I've been to, where we've really saw gun owners and non-gun owners get in a conversation. And it was funny because a lot of the gun owners showed up, and I think that they thought they were going to get in a disagreement and a fight. And we all got together in the room with the state representatives. We jumped in discussion. We found out, wow, we're agreeing on everything. We really want some things to happen. It's just a matter of figuring out what those things are. So I think our biggest challenge is also the most exciting thing about this, because we can have a dialogue in a town with people on both sides of every argument, can sit down together and all agree we don't want this to happen again. So that's the challenge, but it's also the exciting thing that this dialogue's happening right here.
So how do you take something like that we see happening in our community, that is being watched by the state, by the nation, and use it somehow to really lead and affect meaningful legislation? How do you become that agent for change that will get something done that other groups have been trying to do for many years and just haven't quite been able to take that desire for change to the next level?
Well, I think speaking for myself and also to a lot of us in discussions we've had, is while we don't want to be in this position, we feel like it's our responsibility. We need to do something. And I think there's a lot of people in our community and throughout the country that feel like they want to do something, that they want to do something to help affect change, but they don't know how to do it. So part of the challenge, I think, is facilitating people. We're not experts in the legislation. We're not going to be writing legislation. We will support certain proposals made by certain groups and politicians, but I think facilitating people to do something, and to that effect, what we've initially concentrated on is Connecticut legislation, and we have put out people who've signed up for our emails. We've put out email blasts helping them do that. We've given them specific information on who are the crucial politicians to contact. Dan actually on the website has made it very easy, where you can go onto the website and all the contact information is on there. So you can send emails, you can fax letters if you like, you can make phone calls. So I think we see our position as facilitating people and helping people who want to do something to be able to do so. And
you've been very busy facilitating, because there's been a lot of things that you've been doing, both in Hartford and in Washington. And let's talk about that a little bit. There was a major march in Hartford that you guys are very engaged in. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, I can start.
Sure.
Well, as I said, we've partnered with March for Change. We're coalition partners with them, and thanks to a lot of donations and other help we've received, we were able to send 7 buses to Hartford to stand up, and there were over 5,500 people there, which, in speaking to a lot of people at the Capitol that day, they had never seen anything like that, especially on this issue.
And the fact that Newtowners are turning out en masse to be part of this is again a great accomplishment. It shows the depth of how much people want to get involved. I guess is the best thing. How deep their need for involvement is. Are you finding it's fairly easy to get people to become engaged?
Very. I would say for a lot of us, we felt compelled. This wasn't a choice to get involved. It was something that we had to do. And I think a lot of Newtown residents feel that way as well.
I think the world is also looking for somebody to guide, guide them through this process to facilitate. And as Dave said, that we are facilitating that process. And for decades, there wasn't anybody who really, or a group, or group of people who really made that commitment to facilitate that process and to engage people in the process and in the discussion about whether it's gun legislation, as we talked about, is coming up right now, or mental health when that comes to the legislators, or whatever it might be. So again, I think the American people really are embracing that, because we are the group to help facilitate it.
Well, and it's not just here in the state. I mean, there's a place for the Newtown Action Alliance on the national stage. You've been involved in Washington. You have something coming up in Washington. Let's talk a little bit about your engagement with our national elected officials.
Well, we've actually, I can't believe what we've done in actually about 3 short weeks. Actually, our group was basically initiated by about 100 Newtown residents that went down to Washington on January 26th. There was a group of us that were there. There was also a group of us that was very involved in the public hearings in Hartford. And then the Tuesday after the march in Washington, we all met on a Tuesday night at the library, and that's when Newtown Action Alliance was born. And basically, since then, we have not only have we many of us participated and testified at the hearings in Newtown when the whole task force came here. We also have this past Tuesday we had a town hall meeting that we facilitated with 6 of the state legislators, including Minority Leader Senate Minority Leader McKinney and House Minority Leader Larry Cafaro. And as Dan had mentioned, we had, we filled the lecture hall, and we had gun owners, non-gun owners, and it was a fantastic conversation. People were listening to each other. What we also did is, if you remember seeing all the green ribbons at the State of the Union address, right. We had one of our members that was down there, the guest of Nancy Pelosi, and we were able to facilitate getting the ribbons in everyone's hands. We also took the opportunity to send personalized outreach packets to a number of senators, and then we also have a trip going down this coming Tuesday and Wednesday, where we will be participating in the Senate Judiciary hearings for the assault weapons ban, and we will be lobbying a number of members of Congress as well.
And if people want to get involved in those activities, how do they get engaged?
Well, they can go to our website, which is newtownaction.org. We also have a Facebook page. And it's free to sign up to be on the email list, and we send out call to actions. Today's the day you need to be calling XYZ. This is the phone number. We make it really easy. And there's a lot of other groups that have those, and they sort of funnel them to us, and we can, let everybody in Newtown know about it, or anybody else that's interested.
Yeah, that's as Jen said also, that a number of people that are actually joining us in Washington we had put out on one of our emails, anyone that wants to participate, and we also said at the town hall, please get in touch with us. And we have probably about half the people that are going down with us, it's about 30 right now, are doing so because they did so through our website.
Well, and people should understand that this is not just you're showing up in the mall in Washington and waving some banners. I mean, you're actually having substantive conversations. We saw Vice President Biden wearing the green ribbon at the State of the Union. We had Senator McCain, Senator Graham, right. Others wearing the green ribbon. And you have quite a list of senators and members of Congress who you have been meeting with and will meet with again in this next trip. Yeah. I mean, it's quite a list of well-to-do, well-known well-to-do is probably not the right word, but well-known members of Congress. And what's the reaction you get when you speak to these people?
Well, we just got a letter today in our mailbox from Susan Collins, who was one of the senators that we reached out to, and she thanked us for getting in touch with her and for opening a dialogue with her, and that was our intention. There's a number of senators that we wanted to engage, and that was our first step in opening a dialogue with them, and we plan to continue that when we go down this coming Tuesday and meet with many of the senators that we reached out to in the first time.
Well, on a national level, it's pretty easy for our congressional delegation from Connecticut to be supportive of your efforts and to help get you some of these meetings with their colleagues. It's interesting to watch at the state level, though, as we saw from the recent meeting with the legislators. That's a little bit more of a challenge because they're trying to affect legislation within our state, Republicans and Democrats together, a lot of issues out there. How do you see that? How do you see bringing that group more together? The town hall was actually, a very good start, but what else do you have in mind for that?
Well, I think a lot of things that are going on right now is part of the 5-point plan that Governor Malloy came out with on this past, I believe it was Thursday morning. I think what he saw is he wants, I mean, everyone wants a bipartisan solution, but we should not sacrifice having a comprehensive and effective solution for bipartisanship. You can't have a solution that makes everyone happy. So you can't have a solution that every single person in the state assembly signs on to. So what we would like to see, and what we are going to continue to do, we've initiated phone calls, as we had said, and letter writing, and we encourage our members to continue to do so, is we want to see a strong legislative package that makes sense, does not infringe on anyone's rights, but that helps to ensure that what happened on December 14th will never happen again in our state.
And do you feel comfortable that we're going to see that in our state?
Well, it's amazing at that town hall meeting this week. One of the questions that came up are have you guys already started to find common ground? And I, for one, thought that all of our state legislators were going to sort of hide their faces because no one wanted to take a position. It's a tough issue to take a position on. It's hard to find the answers. And I think almost every single one of them said, absolutely, we're finding common ground. There's all this logical stuff. Does it make sense to limit, for example, to say, okay, if you buy this gun in a store, you have to have a permit, but okay, if you buy it behind the corner, you don't. So there's just so many obvious things that they're coming up to
They were
say,
very optimistic.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Well, and I also liked what someone had asked a question about when they were saying you're moving too fast. Can you guarantee me that this legislation is going to stop this? Can you guarantee me it's going to do that? And Senator McKinney said, I can't guarantee you anything we do is actually going to stop everything, but to not act and to do nothing because you're not going to stop everything is just a completely unreasonable position. You really, if you can save one life by doing something, then you need to do that.
So with all the things that are happening, again, how does the community get more involved? We've talked about the website, newtownaction.org. Everybody should go there, check it out, sign up. It's free. Go check out the Facebook page. So there are other things, though, that people can do either with upcoming events to become involved or, as Jen was mentioning, donations. So why don't we talk about that a little bit?
You could always make a donation. As we said, there's no cost to sign up for the email, to be on the email list, and you can pick and choose what events you want to be involved with. You can volunteer to be on a committee. We need lots of help. We're still, in our infancy, and so there's so many different ways in which people can get involved.
What the donations are being used for specifically in this coming trip that we're taking to Washington, we are taking members of our interfaith community and clergy. There are members of teachers. We're taking, I believe, 6 teachers are going with us. And we're also helping certain of the victims' parents are actually going to be involved, and we're, that's allowing us to help them to facilitate trips like this and for other actions as well.
Yeah, the people in this town want to go out and do something and say something and meet with legislators, but not everybody that has a thought and an idea is able to fund their transportation. So I think that's the biggest thing I've seen we've done where we've gotten contributions is we've taken those contributions and we put someone in a car or on a bus or on a train and got them down in front of state legislators. We don't have the answers. We don't think any one person has the answers, but we know the more that we can work to get people and to meet face to face and have a discussion, we can find the common ground and implement real smart solutions.
It takes money to turn into action. So that's what we're about, is to all of the funds that we help raise turns into action and some solutions. So
right. And we are all volunteers.
yes,
Right. Oh no, and it's amazing what you're doing as volunteers. I mean, the Facebook page is very robust. If you haven't had a chance to check that out, I'd advise everybody to go out, take a look at it. The website's coming along as well. It's very easy to sign up and to see different things you can do. From a standpoint of activities, you've got the trip coming up to Washington.
Right.
Over the next month or so, a couple of months, what else do you see happening where people could get engaged to help your organization?
Well, I think we're going to have a continued need for outreach on both the state and federal level to legislators. Right now, that is probably the key and most important thing, because, again, you have pending legislation, so the imminent importance is that we affect a positive outcome for that legislation. And to be perfectly frank, this is all happening so fast. I mean, this trip that we're taking actually to Washington on Tuesday, a lot of the details are still incredibly fluid because we're waiting to find out about certain meetings and other things. So we don't necessarily have a concrete answer for exactly what other things are going to come up. I think a lot of what we're going to do is going to be determined by the landscape and how it evolves. So I think the answer would be to focus on contacting legislators on both the state and federal level. And then I think things will slow down a little after that, and we'll be able to start maybe doing more research on things like mental health and looking into the culture of violence that is pervasive in our country.
Mm-hmm. The other thing is, how do you keep track of what the group's activities will be? Where, between the Facebook page and the website, what's the best place for people to go so they can see here's an upcoming event, or what's your plans on how to continue to communicate with the community?
I think Dan should speak to that.
Yeah, that's a good question. The Facebook page is great because it's constantly information up there. That's probably the fastest, quickest information we get out there. Goes right to Facebook. The website's great too. I think that the biggest tool that we're using, though, is the email newsletter. And if you go to the website and you sign up for the email newsletter, we're not going to fill your box with messages every day. But when there's an opportunity that comes up that says, hey, this decision's being made today, if you have an opinion, and we don't care what your opinion is, if you have an opinion, make a phone call today, take an action. So I think the most important thing is, if you have an interest, and I don't care what your opinion is, if you have an interest in the issue, go to the website, sign up for the newsletter, and when opportunities come up to influence something, we'll let you know and we'll let you take an action.
And the newsletters are also summarizing what we've done and also calling attention to the upcoming things that we will be doing and need participation in.
Right, and it's great because I got my newsletter last night, and it was very informative, very good. I was glad I signed up. Yeah. So it's very easy to do, so it's great. Any last thoughts on what you'd like to leave in terms of the Newtown community and a message from the Alliance?
I would say participation is critical. Our legislators have repeatedly told us that they appreciate our input, that they love hearing from people from Newtown, and to keep the calls and emails coming. They say, please keep talking to us. And I think a lot of people don't really realize that. One phone call just isn't enough. You can make one phone call a day. It only takes a minute. But we do need to keep the pressure on. We do need to keep making that contact, and they appreciate it. They're not going to be upset with us for repeatedly calling them.
Well, I think it supports them, and that there is a need to take action. I think it was interesting, again, at the last meeting, a few people said we need to slow down, and you could tell that the mood of the majority of people in that room was, we can't slow down. We need to take action now. Now is the time to move forward. And I take it the Newtown Action Alliance with action. That's Dave.
Absolutely.
It has the word there for a reason. Well, and also one other thing that actually Dan said very well at our first public meeting is when we had opened it up to a forum and people were asking questions, a number of people in consecutive questions said, what are you doing? How are you doing this? And they kept using the word you, and Dan brilliantly stood up and said, and this is, our whole concept is, this isn't us, it's us because we're just here right now. We were here first, but this is everybody's group. This is Newtown's group. This is Connecticut's group. This is the United States group. We want everyone who wants to participate to join us. This isn't us and them. This is everyone.
Well, and on that note, we want to remind people to get involved. You can learn more about the Newtown Action Alliance at its website, newtownaction.org, or you can check out the Newtown Action Alliance page on Facebook. And I want to thank David, Jen, Dan, and David for being here today. It's very informative. We want you to come back and tell us how things are progressing over the next month or so. And also want to thank our studio crew today, Tom, George, Molly, Helen, Zatira, and our director, Neil. And a special shout out to our special guest from Laosheng, China, Zhu, who is here to see what's happening and how we run an American TV show. So with that, until our next episode of Newtown's World, please live life well.